Star Stars is Joshua D. Fucker, and today it is Favorite Film Friday. That means we're going to go over the top 75 films of all time with the final ranking of my top 15 films of all time. If you missed any of the previous segments that you want to catch up on all 75 favorite films, be sure to check out that playlist right there or at the end of this video if you want to see just the top 15 first. Comment down below what your top 15 favorite films of all time, or top 10 or top 5, just in general what you love about films. This is a subjective list that makes me love movies that much. I absolutely love these movies. But without further ado, the top 15 films of all time, beginning with number 15 with Dune. Yes, the most recent Dune. I absolutely love the immersive soundtrack by Hans Zimmer, the amazing Denis Villeneuve, just direction with the whole thing. The actors the book adaptation is so perfect. The way they craft a vision that I did not expect to be able to see on screen. This is just part one of the whole first book, and yet it's absolutely masterful. Just everything involved, the characters, the setting, and just the effects, all in all, is really amazing. The way all of it's brought to life in a way that I could have never imagined. Number 14, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Another film, of course, I'm going to repeat myself, that I love just for the conclusion to this epic book series put to film that's objectively such a grand film in all of its effects, the cinematography, the storytelling, the writing. Everything makes sense the way it does. Everything is pretty much perfect. The way it all lays out, the final battle between the good and evil, all those epic moments in slow motion, or just the casual wizard fights in general, and then Harry's journey that leads him to the final fight against the man who must not be named, is just absolutely phenomenal. The blend of characters going off of part one, still being able to handle part two on its own film and not feel like it relied on the first film too much, but still being the grand conclusion to this epic franchise. Coming in with number 13, we have Whiplash. It's such a strong music drama with just these two amazing actors that give off stellar performances about this guy that's trying to do his best, and he's put under this really strict music teacher that just feels so real and immersive, deteriorating his mental and physical health, but still pushing on and on just to win. And that's the protagonist and antagonist type of story that you just do not expect within a film, having a strict music teacher as the antagonist. But it all works in the natural setting that brings to life in such an amazing way. Coming in with number 12, we have The Dark Knight, my favorite comic movie of all time that I absolutely love for just the immersiveness of the city. Well, this isn't the best film, and I believe the Batman that originally just recently came out is the best Batman film. This is just my favorite one, just with the Heath Ledger as Joker, Christian Bale as Batman, that isn't perfect in their roles with the writing involved, but all in all is bringing this such epic conclusion, middle ground to this trilogy. Absolutely compelling story with each villain you get in this, but then also having the boat scene, having the prisoners and the citizens decide between each other which to kill, and all that comes about throughout, and just all the fights combined as Batman has to duel against his enemy Joker, that neither of them can kill each other. It makes for one wonderful story and characters. Coming in at number 11, we have Coco, a musical that's quite intriguing. The Pixar bringing out some of the best animation, being one of my favorite Pixar films of all time in general. Just the way they pay attention to the details with the chords they strum on the guitar, that's actually how it's meant to be played with the notes they're playing, and just being able to express himself through the music, and he's going and having to get his blessing through this past and the consequences that come through that. as he has to get that blessing in 24 hours before he becomes part of the land of the dead. It's amazing as they explore this Cinco de Mayo culture and the culture altogether, between the shame and honor culture with the family, playing the music, and ultimately the assumptions they make with the past and how that affects the present, makes it for one incredible, intriguing film, getting attached to each dynamic of the story as it plays out. Coming in with number 10, we have 2001 Space Odyssey. Stanley Kubrick making one of his best films within this, and it's a slow burn, but it manages to hold its ground all the way through, persuading evolution in a different way, just with this black monolith that lands in the past. The way it captures you in, and the way you come to understand the story as you rewatch it more and more. I absolutely love this, even having seen it only 2 times, and that intriguing seeing the colors and is just absolutely enthralling. Just that color sequence that makes you feel insane with all that's going on. All in all, is just really something that I cannot express in words yet. That's why I absolutely love this as a straight up sci-fi movie that just has no limits to what it's doing, and yet tells a story with an AI that's ultimately taking over this ship and all these different places, all in all. Number 9, we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and if you know me, you know I have to include a time travel movie of some sort, and this one is absolutely incredible. Not only being a Harry Potter film that I absolutely love with absolutely incredible writing, but with the great character dynamics, the integration, and it's even Harry Potter in his younger years where we haven't yet met the man who must not be named, and the effects are really good for times still, even with what they're going to, and fights are intriguing. The comedy is a great mixture, even having the mixtures, the beginning with the Dursleys at hand, having the ant blowed up into a balloon, and just in general, so much mixture of comedy and drama blended so well together, all to make this my favorite Harry Potter film. Coming in at number 8, we have Good Will Hunting, an excellent psychology film, just of this man that's just really good at math and always striving, but he lands a job as a janitor and does not put himself past that, and so he has to go through counseling and has to go through all these things, but he's putting himself lower than he actually is, as he actually is really intelligent, and puts himself as these jobs that are under his level of experience, and so he ends up going through this journey through the counseling. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck being such great writers for this story, putting this together, and Robin Williams putting on one of his best performances. Absolutely incredible, all in all, just integrating this personal story that really connects with me and helps him grow through himself as he begins to become more of himself. Coming in with number 7, we have Lord of the Rings Return of the King. One amazing conclusion to this epic fantasy trilogy that truly is an epic by its own means, carrying on this 3-hour runtime, yet still being able to hold my attention the whole way through, getting the right characters that you love every film for, and just being able to go to the end of the battle, destroying the ring, and yet they're still on that journey, they're still on the adventure, going against all their trials, all their battles against the enemy, against the orcs, and all the Eye of Sauron, just being absolutely incredible. Just the relational dynamics between all of these characters, split in their own pairs by their own means, yet still all helping each other and bringing balance to helping Frodo ultimately carry the ring on and carry that burden, while Frodo ultimately must make that decision in the end. And just the conclusion that all comes to is absolutely incredible, and just enticing Gollum being that deceiver against Frodo, but still having to trust him all the way through. just carrying all that weight on his shoulders, and ultimately it becomes a story of brotherhood that I cannot forget. Coming in at number 6, we have Ordinary Love, an enticing, just intriguing love story that every time I watch it, I love, as it's dealing with this older couple that the wife has gotten breast cancer, and they're having to deal with that together, and it's just a relational balance and the chemistry they have together, Liam Neeson and Leslie Manville, that their acting just feels so raw and emotional, and the colors and the music that's so simple but so effective, it brings so much to the mood, so much to the colors and theme, that just draws me in from the very beginning to the very end. And it's not all too long of a film to where I enjoy the journey, and it's one that's super rewatchable somehow, even as it's more depressing just in its own subject, because it has those such a good balance of lighthearted moments, some simple comedy that feels so real and so down to earth that ultimately I'm drawn in from the very beginning. And going into my top 5, we have Baby Driver. Now, this is one wild film that goes on a wild adventure. This character that's more quiet and just working for criminals, going on these busts and robberies, and just being this character that's so enticing. Ansel Elgort just putting on this amazing role, and all the combined cast bringing in performances that are amazing in the film, and I'm absolutely attached to the direction Edgar Wright brings to the table that absolutely is so unique and untold of, that once it reaches the end, it ends at a point where you do not expect, and you almost do not wish for this character to end up in, and yet it makes all the most sense. That still makes me absolutely adore where it ends up, makes me emotional, getting all the feelings that these characters are going to. Yeah, it makes sense for the morality that these characters are attaching themselves to. And all in all, just the whole race from the beginning to the end drives as quickly as he does in the car. And then number 4, we have Spartacus, an absolutely excellent production with Stanley Kubrick as the director, Kirk Douglas as the main actor, and with Dalton Trumbo as the writer, that brings an absolutely incredible story to the film with just so much interesting directions and such an enticing character. I love this traditional, untraditional, and such an older production that still works and still works super well today, just with everything that goes about what they're going for and the journey that they're taking on. Kirk Douglas being this gladiator type of character that they're brought into the camp and made into slaves, and they're go on a revolution, breaking out of that, all because of one girl that he goes for, Spartacus goes for, that makes for one amazing journey across the battle, finding other slaves to gather up, bringing up the revolution, taking away the Romans and fighting against them, and just going across this whole land, and the costume design, the set design, all of the demonstration in the battle all together makes for one intriguing and story that I absolutely love. And Spartacus becoming one of my favorite movie characters just because of his morality and his intentions, just how he handles women, and all of these other characters all set in this older time frame that becomes still something that I can understand and learn from and just absolutely love, and became something I love so much from the story that I bought the novel, that I'm absolutely intrigued to dive into once I have the chance. And coming in number 3, we have Saving Private Ryan, Steven Spielberg's production that I absolutely am enthralled, especially the first half hour, just having the D-Day sequence at the beginning, just so surreal and raw. The blood battle that has been spilled on the beach, and just all the different cast members you get to do all these extras, and then just having such a strong, powerful role with getting this realness of the war demonstrated onto the screen that I absolutely love, and it's hard to express, but just the way Steven Spielberg brings this production to life, and then going on to having Tom Hanks as the lead role as a general, and then leading this team of soldiers just to save Private Ryan across this whole long journey in the 3-hour runtime once more, that holds my attention all the way through, and bringing what I love about seeing war and yet hating to see war, drawing me in from beginning to end, and absolutely seeing this amazing journey through these characters that you get to flesh out over time, and being able to learn more about as they're going just to save one man, to make it worth it for that mother that has lost 3 other sons that one day. Absolutely, it's a raw and emotional film that makes it all worth in the end for this one man, saving this one man with all the sacrifices and involved with this such brutal war film that I absolutely love. But coming in with number 2, we have Prisoners, an amazing, having these 2 different characters, and Hugh Jackman being a father of these 2 daughters that get disappeared from the family, and they get kidnapped, and just going on this journey trying to figure out what happens. And as the father becomes more trying to take the journey and investigation to his own means, as Jake Gyllenhaal is the detective just trying to do his job, who has never failed a detective case before, is going through his own journey, they start to fall apart through their own morality, as they're both religious characters that start to crumble apart, as Hugh Jackman as the father losing his daughter and trying to figure out what's all going on, and thinking the detective isn't doing his best, and the detective getting shamed by the father because he can't quite figure it out in time as well, taking over a week span to figure out what's going on and how the daughters may not have survived during that time, and overall the sequences and the huge twist of the reveal at the end, and just the brutality that goes into the father taking matters into his own hands of what he perceives to be the kidnapper. All in all, just makes such amazing performances for great characters, great writing, and a great story by Denis Villeneuve. Number 1 pick that I cannot confess to not pick as my number 1, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, still my favorite film of all time, that it doesn't miss a beat. It has the tiniest of things that I have problems with that hardly still affect my experience, as it goes into great characters, great writing that I will still argue is still to this day, with all of these characters and dynamics that they fight back against each other. Rian Johnson bringing such ambition to the story he's going to tell his own that may have brought fault to the prior film and the sequel to this film, but The Last Jedi as its standalone brings so much to the themes of hope, failure, and the family dynamics, and just the interesting takes on Luke's character, that he hasn't actually lost himself, but he's become confused as he does this one little mistake that fully has to rediscover himself, that Rey brings to him, and all the characters, Rey, Finn, Poe, and then having the huge twist with Snoke, what they're doing to his character is absolutely compelling, that it isn't becoming his story. It isn't going to be a repeat offender of the original trilogy, having both the Master and Apprentice fight the Master and Apprentice at the end of the whole story as it is. It's another betraying story with Kylo Ren just becoming the supreme leader, as he believes Rey to be turning to his side, as Rey believes he is turning to her side, and just so much social dynamics between every character, and all the themes involved with this masterful score makes for one absolutely an amazing movie, and that's why it is still my favorite movie of all time. And so that is my top 15 favorite movies of all time as of this day. Let me know down below of your favorite top 15 favorite movies of all time. Make sure to comment what you thought of my picks, how you perceive my own views on these films. Of course, it's entirely subjective, and I'm finally making this list, but make sure to come back next Friday. Make sure to like and subscribe, because I am continuing Favorite Film Fridays with other types of favorite film lists and rankings. So make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.